Hey, horror fans, and welcome to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Scary. So, I'm John, as I always say, and today we're going to be looking at Jaws 2. Actually, I love this movie. This was one of my favorite films growing up as a kid. This is 1978's Jaws 2. You know, when I was a kid, at one point, the public library that I would go to, they rented out videos. And then they came in these weird sort of plastic cases. You could still see the cover art and everything. But then you had to, like, squeeze them on the side in order to... This looks so weird. But you had to squeeze them on the side in order to get the film out. And Jaws 2 was one of the films that I rented over and over again. So just the cover art of Jaws 2 is something nostalgic to me. Of course, I love that they kept the shape of Jaws, But this time he's rising out of the water, and as we find out in the film, he eats that woman skiing. Well, enough about the artwork. Let's begin. Jaws 2 is a simple enough story. Right at the beginning, we see that the shark is back. I mean, it's not the same shark. The first one... So a new shark is back, but it's a great white. And they're hungry. This one's hungry. And it kills a scuba diver, eats him. But the scuba diver was taking photos of the wreckage, I believe from the first boat in the original Jaws film, the Orca. So that camera then comes into the possession of Chief Brody, who then develops the film, and he sees a picture of this of the shark, this new shark, and it's a close-up of his eye. And he goes about telling everyone in town that they're in trouble. Nobody believes him, as usual in horror stories. And so, one thing leads to another. He kind of embarrasses himself in front of, I think it's real estate developers on the island. And also in front of some of the tourists, too, by shooting into the water. Which gets him fired, but he still believes that the town is in danger.
This is going to look better on you than on me, because you're a snappier dresser.
Well, the real action of our story happens then when his son and a group of his friends take their sailboats out.
Do you always do what your parents tell you to?
When Brody's already asked his son, don't go out, it's dangerous, don't do anything. But they go out anyway. The shark attacks them, starts eating some of them. And this is when Brody gets tipped off to it and goes out and rescues the kids.
You want to go? You said something about a lighthouse. Let's go.
So if I want to just jump right into it, this is one of my favorite of the Jaws sequels. I like the third one as well, but I'll get to that one later. Jaws 2, there's a lot of good to say about Jaws 2. I mean, for me personally, I loved the story behind it. I liked that, there's another shark out there. Of course, I mean, it would be really a sad Jaws movie if we didn't have another shark. I think I enjoyed seeing Roy Scheider returning to his role, and a lot of the other reoccurring cast members too. I do forget the name of the mayor, but he was a pretty famous actor as well.
Martin, don't press it this time. Well, I've got to get back to work.
So, I mean, that was a good point to me, was having these returning characters. But also, I do like the aspect of the kids being the ones who go out this time, and they're the ones in danger. Because whereas in the first we have, you know, our main cast, Chief Brody, going out on a boat, you know, trying to, and with Quint as well, and Hooper. They're all out there trying to find the shark and kill it, and that's where the meat of our story comes from. Meat. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I liked that in the second film, that we have the kids, you know, they're out doing their things and you know, taking their boats out, and the shark's terrorizing them. Another good aspect of this film is that the quality remains, you know, pretty good. It's I would say it's a good percentage of the originals. It even the actors, I enjoyed their performances. And when it comes to the fear and you know, just screaming, you know, bloody murder, like I think that helped to captivate me as an audience member, and it also made the story seem a little more plausible too. I think I've said plausible already, but you know, they really show that terror. They really express it, especially the school kids. You know, the ones who are out being attacked by the shark or seeing those shark attacks. Because good God, I mean, if I were to see a shark eat one of my friends right in front of me, that would be terrifying, honestly. So I think, you know, in the film, the way that they show that terror, it's not you know, it's not cheesy. I think it's warranted. It's, you know, it makes sense. So this wouldn't be a proper review if I don't go over some of the bad aspects of the film too. So perhaps they spent a little too much time at the beginning of the film trying to kind of set everything up, and in a way it seemed to me like they were trying to recapture the originals. You know, we had that very, you know, typical sort of plot structure going on. Even though we know as audience members, you know, we're here to see this shark eat some people. We didn't have enough from the first, which is okay. I mean, it's not a horrible point, but you know, most of us are there at that time to see the second one. We really just want to see more of this shark eating people, which is quite weird to say, but you know. So I think that kind of made the beginning a little bit slow. You know, we didn't need the setup of, we know who Chief Brody is. We know what the stakes are. We remember what happened, you know, just a few years ago on Amity Island. And
Chief Brody.
And I think if I'm to give another bad point of this film, is that the shark was not hungry enough. You know, for a sequel, you usually get a higher blood count. You get, or I guess say body count. You know, they set up. They had this great setup and everything, and the kids are on the sailboats, but the shark only seemed to get a few of them, which, you know, I mean, relative to the shark's size, a human body, you know, maybe one or two or three in a go, or they're gonna fill them up. So I can't really fault them too much for that. And also, I think the ending was way too quick. You know, we get this climax, and things are really ramped up and pumped, and then and it's a great ending. I love it. You know, I love at the end when Chief Brody is whacking that oar onto the electrical cable.
Get out of there! Chief, he's heading right for ya!
And then the shark, he eats it and then catches on fire. I think that's a great ending, but it's unfortunate because I felt that they had built to this perfect moment where they could have taken that climax to a much stronger and more ramped up type of conclusion. So, the scary of the film, let's see. The film has got some good jump scares. Jaws is perfect for that. One of my favorite jump scares is in Jaws. There's this scuba diver who's just looking for lobsters or whatever it is, and then Jaws just comes right out at him, and he. Honestly, I like too that the shark had this burn mark on his face and kind of scars. I think it made him unique, and it also made him a little more scary too. But the biggest scare factor for me in any Jaws film is seeing the shark underneath the water, but seeing it visibly and clearly, because, gosh, those are terrifying scenes. Like, anytime I'm in the water, anytime I ever go to the ocean, it's, I probably shouldn't do this, but every single time I think, gosh, that's what it would look like if a shark was coming for me. That would probably be the last thing I see, is just this massive shark, right beneath the surface, and then I'd feel whatever I'd feel. I wouldn't be feeling good, I'll tell you that. Yeah. And the last point for the scary elements is, it's scary to me that Roy Scheider almost didn't reprise his role. So the only reason that he returned for this sequel was because he had signed a contract, I believe, with Universal at the time, and he was supposed to fulfill a number of roles in their productions. And this was one of the roles that they really pushed on him so that he could be alleviated, I guess, from the contract.
Are you serious?
You bet I'm serious.
So, that might be more of a silly, scary point, but to me, I think this film wouldn't have been nearly as good as it is if he wasn't a part of it.
I never heard of a 908.
908 means get me out of there.
So, all in all, Jaws 2 is a pretty good, entertaining film. It's worth the watch. One of my favorites. And if you enjoyed the video, you can give me a thumbs up, click subscribe, or you can help donate to me so that I can one day get a pet shark for myself. Okay, well, I don't expect that. Anyhow, all the best, and I hope to catch you next time.